ఓకే మీది ఫోన్ కాల్స్ ఏం రాదు కదా.
Hello everybody, my name is Deepak. Just wanted to say hello.
Hi Deepak.
Yeah, hi.
Hi Deepak, this is Uma Reddy.
Uma, hi. Unfortunately, it's been busy time, so I couldn't really chat up, and I didn't see much chat either. Hi Rajni, I think we spoke yesterday.
Hi, yes, Deepak. Hi, hi, Uma.
Hi Rajni.
Very
Hi,
nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting you too. I don't know whether you had that meeting yesterday. I'm sorry, but I couldn't join.
No, I couldn't have it. That's why I put those points
That's
across.
questions. Yeah, I got those points. Yeah, that's fine.
Are we all here or are we waiting for someone?
We have 3 more speakers.
Members to come. They have not yet come. 10 minutes past the time.
Okay.
Just see, I think Prasanna is there.
Shall we give them a couple more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So the people who are here are Uma, Deepak, and Dr. Ranjini.
Rajini,
Correct?
Rajini.
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 Okay. So we're waiting for 2 more.
And how's the audio? All fine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
you're all audible. Okay.
Okay, in the interest of time, let's get on with the show and have others join in as and when they do. I'd like to welcome you all, extend a warm welcome to this Global Digital Annual Women's Economic Forum 2021. The session titled, How Technology is Changing the Landscape of the Manufacturing Industry. This is track number 5 and session number 1, which lasts from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I would like to extend a warm welcome personally to Dr. Rajni Sriraman, who is the moderator. Dr. Sriraman is the Vice President, HR and Administration, SK Design and Structures Private Limited. And to each of the speakers, Uma Reddy, Managing Director, High-Tech Magnetics and Electronics, Mirail Taulel Kima, I hope I got that name right. She's Managing Director, MT Energy Resources, Australia. Deepak Paul, Managing Director, IGUS, India. Deepak, did I get that name right, IGUS? Rupa Rani Ravindran, she's founder of FOWE4 India. Sinjani Sengupta, founder, Lighthouse. Before I open the show to you guys, just a quick reminder that I will be back 10 minutes before this session ends, which is at 2 p.m. and sign off at that time. So you will have 5 minutes at that point to conclude the conversation, and then I'll take over and wrap up the show. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it could be men. So thank you very much, Uma and Deepak, for joining the session on time. And I'm Rajni, as Jay said, and I live in Chennai, and I take care of HR in SK Designs and Structures. We are a steel detailing company. So we make huge structures back in the United States, Europe, and Canada. So this is shortly about my company. And so before we go into the session, I thought we'll give a couple of minutes for the rest of them to join, so we can start with the panelist introductions and then move on to the panel itself. It's about 1:05. So, Jay,
I think he has dropped out, I think, and he would rejoin towards the end.
No, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I was hearing Dr. Rajni Sriraman say that we should probably get on with the show.
Sure.
It's already 5 minutes past, so
Sure.
let them join in as they will, and
Absolutely.
slide into the conversation. So
Sure.
over to you, Dr. Sriraman.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much once
You're
again. So I'm very happy to introduce the two panelists who are here right now. And as the others join, I will introduce them as well. So we'll go on to introducing Ms. Uma Reddy. Ms. Uma Reddy is an electrical engineer from UVC Bangalore, and she is the MD of High-Tech Magnetics and Electronics Private Limited. She is a first-generation technocrat entrepreneur. Congratulations, Uma. HME is an ISO 9001:2015 accredited and manufactures custom-built transformers, coils, inductors, electronic sub-assemblies. HME won the Performance Award from GE Medical Systems in 2001, Kirloskar Best Supplier Award in 2005, ABB Safety Award in 2011, and Sir MV Award Institute of Engineers. Sir MV Shrestha Utpadana Prashasti in 2017. She has won a national award for women entrepreneurs in 2001 and the Rajyotsava Award in 2005. Uma has been a member of PM's Council for MSME, GOI, and NMCC. She has presented many papers in entrepreneurship development, both nationally and internationally. She is co-founder and UBUNTU Consortium, past president, Awake, Emerge, Click, director of FKCCI, and NACC member of FICCI. Welcome, Uma. It's a great pleasure having you in this forum.
Thank you, Dr. Rajni. And
Thank you. Yeah.
glad to be part of the Women Economic Forum.
Thank you so much. And moving on to Deepak. Deepak has, however, given a very short introduction about himself, and probably we'll get to know him more as he starts talking and his accomplishments as well. So to just introduce Deepak, Deepak Paul is the founding member of IGUS in India, with IGUS India since last 23 years. Currently heading the company in India, he has an executive management degree from the IIM Bangalore, and he is also a BTech in agricultural engineering from Allahabad University. So it's very brief, Deepak, and we hope we'll know more about you as we move along, as I said earlier. And so Uma and Deepak, as we wait for the others to join in, this is a very, yes, Deepak,
Dr.
you want to say
Rajni,
something?
no, Dr. Rajni, I can see a message in the group saying that Mirail couldn't join. It seems like she's like an attendee. I don't know, somebody can help her.
Oh, okay. She's back.
Message, yeah.
She's backstage.
Yeah.
Let me quickly go and check with the technology team here while you guys converse.
Yeah.
I'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
Sure. So, so going back to Deepak, would you like to talk about yourself a little more?
Okay, I really do not know. When I hear the accomplishments and the various forums and things that has been achieved by Ms. Uma, I think that she's a good role model to emulate. Okay, I would like to say that, okay, I've been a founding member, and my life has been pretty much focused around building this company in India. Okay, and we are focused more on our engagements with the industry more than other areas. Let me put it this way, that our focus has been with developing our products and our technology and our solutions in India. So I don't have so much accomplishments, neither did I have the time. As you might have seen yesterday, also was a little bit stressed, and the evening I was a little bit worried that that I will probably not be able to catch up on time. And I'm just glad that we managed to. So yes, that's about. I don't want to speak much about it. We have a lot of accomplishments in the area that we work, but then those are more. We would like to keep it like private with us. If they are not accomplishments that we would like to, or rather, it's known to people who matter rather than to the general public, I would say. Yeah.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, we'll get to, I'm sure from your work will speak as you sharing your stories from your company. Sure. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you. And it's a great honor having you in this panel, Deepak. And thanks for finding time for our listeners and for BEF.
Thank you.
So, and to set the context for technologies in manufacturing, I think, from big data analytics to advanced robotics to computer vision in warehouses, manufacturing technologies bring unprecedented transformation, and we are seeing more of it happening nowadays than ever before. Many manufacturers are already leveraging sophisticated technologies for manufacturing, such as Internet of Things, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, etc., to improve operations, to reduce, human intervention and minimize errors as well, and of course to improve the speed as well. And as we are going closer, as 2021 is coming to a close, I think it's high time we move from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0. And the latter is all about connecting humans and machines, that is smart systems. Interestingly, I think 5.0 is already here, and with the ongoing COVID, and it's only accelerating its arrival, in my opinion. And that said, I think robotics, nanotechnology, Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data, augmented reality, and all of that is there prevailing in its full form. And I think, having said all this, I want to listen to the leaders and ask them for their perspectives. What has been their experience in all of this and in using technology in their own manufacturing space, and what they recommend to the post-COVID era. Hopefully it's post-COVID, and we want to be very optimistic about it. And before we move on to the first question, I think Mirel is here. Welcome, Mirel, and it's a pleasure having you here. And good afternoon, and it's good morning to you, right? It's good morning.
No, it's still afternoon. I'm in
Okay.
Perth, Australia, so not too far. So
Okay, all right.
Good afternoon.
Good
Sorry
afternoon.
for being late.
Yeah. So Mirel is introducing Mirel to all of them. Mirel is an award-winning global entrepreneur, global energy and STEM consultant, global influencer, women empowerment advocate, and champion. She's an international speaker. She's a published author and an online talk show host. A petroleum engineer, she has gained her experience working for more than 25 years in Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia in a range of technical and leadership roles for major oil and gas and energy companies. She has, apart from all of this, she has taken time out and she has published 3 books. One is Local Content Key Enabler for Oil and Gas Projects in Emerging Markets, Investing, Developing, and Providing Oversight in Countries of Operations in the year 2015. She's also published another book, which is titled Stepping into Your Greatness, 12 Rules for Building an Outstanding Life in 2016. And the third book is Natural Gas Strategies, the Role of Developing and Emerging Markets in 2018. While Mirel has several accomplishments to her credit, we would like to listen to her as she starts sharing her experience in this panel. And Mirel, if you have something to tell about yourself, please feel free to talk about it.
Thank you so much. So I'm Mireille. I'm based in Perth in Australia. I'm an engineer by formation, a petroleum engineer. So I've worked in the oil and gas industry. It's been more than 25 years now. I worked internationally, and 5 years ago decided to become a consultant. So created MT Energy Resources and been scaling the company. So we're doing really well, but as you see, technology is there, and there's also a lot of talk about the energy transition, going from the conventional to more clean energy because of climate change. So that's been my main activity. But in parallel, I've been doing a lot of empowerment work, especially focusing on women and also youth, but more on women, the women who work in male-dominated environment, helping them with using my own experience and my own expertise to help them to coach them, mentor them, so that we can have more women in those industries, but also make sure that they can also climb the ladder and be at the decision-making, table. And that's been really a lot of my focus. And I've been, I'm doing it through different platforms. So I'm an author, I have a talk show, and I speak as well. So I'm trying different platforms to get my voice out there and to reach out to as many women as I can. And I expanded into STEM and started the STEM Queen venture, which is a social venture. Started in Uganda, in Africa, but also here in regional Australia, focusing on Indigenous women to make sure that they participate in STEM and have access to some of the employment that are coming. As we know, with the fourth industrial revolution, a lot of things are really linked to STEM. So we have to make sure they are there as well. So I think that's where I want to leave it. Otherwise,
Sure.
we'll be here for.
I would like to take a time management coaching from you, because the kind of things that you're juggling with, it's amazing to do this kind of work and also focus on your core as well. Thank you, Mirelle. Thank you once again. And as we can move into the actual panel, so the first discussion point that I would like to take up is with the participants is, how have you leveraged technology in your respective businesses, and how is it helping your organization? So we can start with anyone who would like to go with this first.
Shall I go?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rajni.
Yeah.
I hope, I call you Dr. Rajni or Rajni?
No, Rajni is very good.
I wanted to go largely because I started this business, magnetics. We started while I was in my final year of engineering, and that was in the 80s, 84 to be precise, or 83 to be precise, when I was in my final year. And believe me, in 83, it was an analog world. There was hardly any digital. Digital was very, very limited to clocks, which had a digital display. I mean, very limited. So the fact that I'm still alive and I'm relevant with a company in Hi-Tech Magnetics meant that I have to keep on embracing technology as I kept growing. And I've been in a business. I started in those days doing printed circuit board designing, a green PCB, which you see in most electronic products for those who are non-tech. That printed circuit board used to be developed using, tapes and a grid sheet and a drafting table in the 80s. Moving on, of course, the computer era started in 90s by the time the first PC came in, and then we had to then move into, software-based designing, which meant an electronic data processing center. It was used to be called an EDP, which we now call it Entrepreneurship Development Programs. The acronym is more attuned to that now. And started doing designing on software designs or software-based designs for our customers. So I started in the 80s, doing printed circuit board designing, manufacturing PCBs or developing designs for PCBs. Finished my engineering, I got a job, decided that I would continue what I was passionate about, being an entrepreneur. It kind of brings in a lot. And I don't think we had an ecosystem at that time which supported entrepreneurship development. I don't think I even knew the spelling of the word entrepreneur at that time. And also that we were a closed economy, right? And it was a period of license Raj, which took about 9 months for me to get a license while I'm in Bangalore. For the license to go, or for the, the application to go to Delhi and for me to set up my business. And we never did have anything called entrepreneurship development programs for us to learn. So anyway, that was the mechanism. And then I had to keep on changing my products, because in electronics, product life cycles are short, obsolescence levels are very high. and I needed to keep changing. So from printed circuit board designing, I moved on to manufacturing of printed circuit board assemblies, sub-assemblies for defense manufacturing, following MIL standards in the 90s. Moved on to the digital space of using PCs for software design, for product design, and largely focusing on designing of PCBs again. But there came a time that even that started getting relegated because electronics became smaller and smaller, and we moved on to SMD, the surface mounted technology. And when we came on to SMD, populating boards manually was also moving out. And hence I said I had a strength of women. I largely employ women. Even now I have 90% of my staff are women. And at that point of time, I said, what am I going to do? They're really good at the work that they're doing. And then we moved on to manufacturing of transformers and coils in 92, 93. And today I still manufacture transformers and coils. Going forward, I'll probably share what else needs to be done. But it's just wanted to pinpoint that technology keeps changing. And if we don't embrace it, we don't look ahead, it's going to become very, very difficult for us. And as you mentioned, it's going to be an era of AI, IoT, data. And how do you then use all this for probably improved productivity? I mean, technology is not just technology for you to, manufacture, because I come from a manufacturing industry. Technology is something that you leverage for various applications, be it marketing, be it productivity, be it quality control, I mean, across. And I think it's seamless. Technology just pervades all areas of a process, be it manufacturing to dispatch. So I think with just those few thoughts, I'll end here.
Great story, Uma, very, very nicely articulated. Thank you so much. Deepak, what's your take on this?
Yeah, first and foremost, a truly inspiring journey, Ms. Uma, and hats off to you to take the plunge in a time when I think even the boldest and the bravest would probably not even venture out of their house. Even I mean, you're a woman, you typically would have to be chaperoned out. And at that time, you started and set up this, and no wonder you have. And really impressive to hear also about your. The percentage that you mentioned about the women, and this is something that is incredible, and it's a good example for all of us to follow. When I say that, I speak for the manufacturing at large, which I think is largely skewed in this direction. So just for your information, we started having our first women employees on the shop floor level only in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, that exercise really couldn't kick off because of the COVID, because we had to work in separated out shifts and things like that, and it was becoming a little bit complex. And we had downsized, or I can't say downsized, we had optimized our deployments on the production. Yeah. So coming back, I think let me be a little bit of the devil's advocate, or maybe I can probably say that okay, we hear about IoT, Industry 4.0, 5.0, but my experience, and maybe my experience, I would rather say that it's limited to India and the Indian subcontinent, I would say. And yes, we talk about all these technologies and these availabilities. We talk more than we actually practice, is what is my personal feeling. And I think the last 2 years, when the COVID, I'm not talking about just the last 2 years, I'm talking about generally, we talk about there are really very few industries that really leverage these opportunities, learn from them really fast, and try to make adaptations in a way that they are able to improve their productivity or improve their outcome. This is my personal experience. However, if you notice the last 2 years or the period that we went through, where things were under lockdown, resources were stretched, we found opportunities diminishing. There was a lot of worries and anxieties about how to run a business. And this was actually a good time where the forced lockdown forced us to sit down and take a look at what we were doing. And I think a lot of companies at that point of time managed to actually get into into these areas to look at what could be done better. So when you talk about, like, for example, when you talk about, whenever I talk about even my product offerings, and they ask how my customers ask, how can these smart plastics, we call them smart plastics, or like you said, the IoT, internet enabled IoT Industry 4.0 products that we have. The big difference that we see is that earlier, whatever, for example, if you are talking about a machine or a process or a machine, a production line, typically we had a lifetime expectation, or that is largely theory based or theoretical, based on theoretical models. So for example, if I have this equipment, this is supposed to last for so many years, or these were largely theoretical based, or it was based on experience that was based out of limited experience of, okay, this machine worked in this environment for this many years. So typically a lot of the optimizations, or in fact, lifetime expectations of anything, process, line, machines, these were based on theoretical or general experiences. So typically what happens with that is that you typically have a lot of factor of safeties, and if you don't have factor of safeties built in, of course you are at risk of having a failure or a production loss or things like that. And on the other hand, if you have a very high factor of safety, typically what you have is you have a high cost, a high capital expenditure on such equipments. So this was the area that you were typically operating in. So what has changed, or what has happened nowadays with the IoT, or where you start tracking, or the machine starts tracking the data, the live data that becomes made available. So what really is happening is that you are actually able to track, an expected lifetime versus a progression of your, how the machine is progressing in your set of conditions, which is probably different from the parameters that you set while defining a lifetime. And this is an important data, because this delta, downwards or upwards, okay, or as you come closer or you're exceeding, can give you a much better idea of how your machine will perform over a period of time. And this is very important, because once you're able to judge a machine how it is progressing, because we are talking specifically about technology in manufacturing, and this ability to harness this data and look at how it works in relationship with expected lifetimes, this gives the opportunity for a production line to actually move from what we typically call in manufacturing as preventive maintenance, wherein you'd say that, okay, this is the block where I do these changes. These are the costs that I'll incur on these timelines. And this is when I would change. And, I will take a stop and I will make a hard change. So all these optimizations or performance improvements that were scheduled earlier based on theoretical models or based on expected failure times now can be done in a much better way based on the real data and the progression of the machine performance, which would mean that we are actually moving from what is called as preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance. And the minute you are able to make this journey, you are actually able to extract the best utility while keeping productivity at the highest level. And this now with IoT, you are even able to, you can go on a holiday, the maintenance manager can go on a holiday, and while he's on a holiday, he can still have his iPad connected, and you can have the real-time data. He could alert his team or somebody about something, that some parameter that is dropping or anything that could be. And all these things, actually, if you ask, is where we should be headed for. And how many companies would actually think of leveraging this? How many machines that are being built are actually being offered with these, with these levers where you can, take advantage of this? This is something that we are not so sure the pace at which, even in India, or even for that matter, other companies, the large companies which are actually very progressive, or which are the cutting edge technologies, they do it. But when you look at the progression downwards, we have not seen that kind of percolation. However, I would like to conclude by saying one additional thing that we are noticing. So when you look at 2018 as a year, the benchmark or the bellwether industry for India for manufacturing is automotive. So when you see the automotive numbers are going up, typically everything else in manufacturing is also going up. And when it flattens out, you see also everything flattening out and taking the slide. So largely all, if you see the macroeconomic parameters are also linked to, in some way, it is moving in tandem with the automotive industry largely. And if you see 2018, we had already started to see the slide. The numbers had started slumping. And that means that the capacity is already, there was already concerns on capacity utilization for automotive. However, if you see the last 12 months, you see capex machines, machine tools, special purpose machines, any kind of equipments typically which are being used in production of automotive, there has been a huge peak on these machines.
Mhm.
Now, we do not know when you have capacity, why would you need that? And that when you look deeper into it, we see that what has happened actually in this time frame of this COVID is that you have had this situation where a lot of labor intensive, or what we typically call as casual labor, this area has actually shrunk or forced to be shrunk, because these were, nobody really looked at it when you were busy, but now at this given time you had to look at it. The context that was set by the COVID had forced every entrepreneur or every business or every manufacturing industry to look at, take a hard look. And there we see the percolation of technology from the big automotive giants, where typically these technologies are being tested and implemented. This has moved down to tier one. Tier one already had a lot of it, but now you see that it is being populated also into tier two. So that is a good, when you look at technology, assimilation into manufacturing, you can directly see that this time frame is contributed to that. And I think with the changes that we see and the gains that we see, more and more technology assimilation will happen. And technology, like I said in the beginning, like I was worried, or like I was expressing, that the percolation, the speed of percolation will now improve, is what is generally what I would think when it comes to. So that would be my 2 cents to start with. And if we have time, probably we can see
Yeah.
also more.
Yes.
We will see
So,
if we can have a concluding statement. Yeah.
sure. Thank you so much, Deepak.
Thank
So taking cue from what you said, you're talking about the slumping markets and the industry, the whole, manufacturing, circling around this one sector called automobile. And, so that impacting the people and various processes and things like that. I would like to ask Mirel, what kind of impact this has created, how technology has impacted learning within the organization, growth within the organization, your customers, how it has impacted your customers, and how it has impacted your processes. How can you throw some light on that?
Mhm.
With specific reference to your industry. And just a minute, welcome Rupa. She's joined, and she's welcome Rupa. So we listen to Mirel, and I will introduce Rupa a little later. Yeah, Mirel, please.
Thank you, Rajini. I could not, because there was some network issue and I'm also traveling. So that was the reason for me to come late. Sorry for that.
No problem. So we'll allow Mirel to talk about this, and then we'll circle back to you.
Thank you, Rashini. Obviously, technology has changed, a lot of industry, and the oil and gas industry have been tremendously changed. I mean, I started working in that industry 25 years ago, and we were still, when we were, because I'm involved in exploration and production, so we still had to go on, on the site, and then, it was very physical. And so for women, it was difficult to access those jobs on the ground. Because everything was very heavy. It was heavy material and all kind of equipment that was very difficult for a woman to be able to carry it. And with technology, we've seen that a lot of the equipment are now automated, and there's actually a lot of more flexibility of even witnessing the operation without being on site. So having, a room, where we call it a war room, where, you manage when you're drilling a well, or you manage, when you're doing an operation, you manage everything, from offsite, and really have the flexibility to get the data in real time and analyze the data, because, the machine that we use now are very powerful. The processes are just, helping us to get everything accelerated. So we really, gain the flexibility in time, and also in operation, having things being more flexible, thing being done quickly compared to what we had before. And when we look at, for women, actually, with everything being now automated, it becomes easier for them to be able to be involved in, in the industry, because it's not about the physical part anymore. They can actually, participate and still be engineers, operation engineers, without having to carry heavy things and heavy material. So it's been a very, a very positive thing for us. And as far as I'm concerned as well, a lot of the, the data that we collect, when we're drilling or when we're doing operation have to be analyzed. And I still remember when I started back then, it was taking, the processing was taking 1 or 2 days, sometime a week, just to get, one iteration. But with the, with the progress and everything that is happening in the technology space, now you can actually have, several iteration, in 1 hour. And that's, that's really, the decision-making process is accelerated, and it translated into, into the return in investment for a lot of company. So really a lot of, positive things we have now. You can have rigs that are, offshore and without any, minimum people on the rig, because everything is automated. The internet and the data are transmitted in, live. So it's really a different, a different industry, a different, something that is more accessible to different people, because even for disabled people, physically disabled people, they can still, if they get injured, they can still work from the office. They can still, have participate in some of the projects. So there's a lot of flexibility that comes with the technology, having the, the AI, having the, IoT, all those new technology that are actually helping us to work remotely and really continue to not only work remotely, but also make more money, because I think for the companies, they're making more money with less people and less hurdle. And that's really where the technology is helping here. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you so much for a very clear perspective on how it's impacting your people, and also how you're able to do your own little work on the gender diversity front, and also for the other kinds of inclusive activities. Very interesting to note, Mirelle. And the next question I would like to ask Rupa, and only after introducing her. Rupa Rani Ravindran is a self-made woman, an industrialist having a food processing unit. So she makes idli, dosa, batter, chapati, and puri. So Mirelle, for your knowledge, this is all very famous Indian, South Indian cuisine. So she's having a food processing industry, and Rupa is the chairperson of the Garment ITI Jharkhand, founder of Forum of Women Entrepreneurs, FOWE, and founder of the Industry and Trade Foundation, ITF. She is also the MLA candidate 2013 Rajaji Nagar constituency. Rupa has trained many rural and urban women in handicrafts and made them economically strong. She is also the director of FKCCI. So welcome, Rupa. My question to you is, and thank you very much, Rupa, for participating in this panel of the Women Economic Forum. My question to you is, Rupa, the way that your the business is focused. What are some of the challenges that you saw in the recent past, and how will you be able to manage this challenge, or how did you overcome this challenge with the help of technology, with particular reference to your industry?
Thank you, Dr. Rajni, and it's a great opportunity for me today to be among you all, and it's a very good opportunity. Here, coming to my industry. Previously, see, we never had any technology like digital marketing and whatever it is, like what we call social media these days. I call this as an opportunity that is during pandemic, even though we had the social media and digital system we never thought of using that like how we are doing these days. So I should be thankful to the pandemic. During pandemic, we started using vigorously the social media. So we carry our office at our fingertips. That's what I would say. Like how, for example, I'm looking for an export market. I want to reach out to the global markets and all these things. So how do I reach out to them? When social digital system is not there, we wouldn't have reached now so far. So these days, export is become very easy. Like say for sampling and all these things, we take a high resolution picture, we send it through email or WhatsApp and all these things, and business is just happening with less time, and meeting time is reduced. So many things is reduced. So all these challenges, what we faced earlier in the beginning of my industry, I faced a lot of things like going for a meeting, one day for sampling, one day for having meeting to discuss about all these things. So these days it has become so easy that we use this Zoom and lot of other systems like we have meetings in other areas like say Google Meet, Zoom Meet and all these things. Through this, this technology is improving our businesses, time saving, lot of other things is happening.
Okay.
So these are the challenges I have faced earlier. So now business is becoming easy, and cost also is saved. Like many areas we'll be saving on cost by appointing labor staff. We need not depend on the staff much due to this. So wherever we are, we can reach out through technology to our customers, and we can give better services to our customers.
Sure.
And they are easy to reach out through this system.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you so much. And my next question is to Uma. So, Uma, when it comes to the current, the timelines that the businesses are existing. So, I'm given, even in my own company, we have literally 5 generations of people working at the same time. So, we have the baby boomers to even the generation after Gen Z. So they're all slowly there. So there are about easily about baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and we have a mixed generation as well. So this is really, bringing in a lot of incompatibility between legacy systems and, all the modern systems that are available. So how do you think, technology can help to remove this or narrow this incompatibility? And have you tried this in your own organization, and how has it worked? You're muted, Uma. You're muted.
Yeah, hi. So I actually have 2 points to share here. The kind of business that I'm into products and components that are basically made for electronic manufacturing, we have but no choice to have a documented system of working. We have a traceability that we carry for at least 3 years that, because we have a component which probably goes into a product, which is very sensitive. It can be a medical equipment, it can be a aerospace component, or it could be a product that is on the satellite. We manufactured Toco coils for 9 of the satellites. So 2 Toco coils per satellite about 3 years ago for ISAC. We do a lot. So all this means precision manufacturing processes, also means a precision documentation process. So, as I mentioned in the first conversation, that I have a large number of women, and, we as women are very good to do consistent quality work. You look at any home, we are very good at maintaining the same thing. We don't get bored of it. Of course, we like creativity, we like something new, but at the same time, we have this inert,
routines. We are very good at routines.
I think in our genes that we are able to do very systematically. And probably that's also something which adds value to what we do. So one is to maintain this documented system. There was a time when we used to do this in a systematic process of a ledger book writing. I said I did start my business in the analog period when there was nothing like a PC available. But we moved on from then to today, and now we get automated reports. A test report is generated automatically. Yes, we need to move to a much more smart manufacturing line. There was a time when we were doing accounts in a ledger book. We moved it to an Excel sheet when MS Office came into being. From MS Office, we went into, pay account, software. Then we moved to Tally. Then we have ERP. And now we have much, much more. Okay. So it's exactly that, as I mentioned, we keep embracing technology as we go forward. In the same thing, my manufacturing line started in those days. It didn't matter. An operator would do the winding, then the entire process of, finishing, termination, testing, and out. And there was a document that would go through the line. Now we have a process where there is a small mechanism where, there are sensors, and we know what is the manufacturing that is done on a winding machine, what's the manufacturing done at the soldering level, what's the manufacturing done. Let me now wear the hat of an MSME. I mean, one is to talk about my own and the effort that goes in, but I think it's very important that we have mechanisms that support micro and small entrepreneurs to embrace technology, to invest in technology for better. So everywhere we talk about lean manufacturing processes, we talk about improved productivity, and that's the way it was, because good old days, we were in our own niche, we could manufacture and supply to our customers were close by. Now we are part of a global market, and it's very important that we are cost competitor. If the transformer that I manufacture, generally tends to be more expensive than my competitor in Taiwan, or, who's getting it manufactured in China. And there is no way I can tell my customer here that you have to buy it from me and not from China or from Taiwan because they're cheaper, the quality is the same. So it's very important that we adopt such technology processes, whether it's lean manufacturing, improve productivity, and also embrace technology for improved productivity. So it's very important that we have, so we did do it for a line where we are able to capture some data and we have software driven. But we really need to, do 10x, 100x. And once you do this and our staff, and, coming back to your question, which you said, when you have staff over a period of time, starting from good old days to Z, staff of the Z Gen and Y Gen, and it becomes very important that they learn to adopt these technologies. And when they see benefit in it, right, they would, it sometimes helps ease of them to, count the quantities. It reduces the strain. It, improves their own performance, and also a very nice atmosphere of, in a way that I am doing better than what I did last time. And when you look at appraisals and look at the way the staff thinks somebody does, let's say, 2,000 calls in a day, and then she does 2,020, that, there is a small appreciation. And these are areas that helps them to improve. So they can, it's something like you're playing golf. You become, you benchmark yourself against what your performance. So they start, they start benchmarking their own thing. So I think it's very important, and it's a part of the process that we all embrace technology. And I think as staff, as women, we are able to embrace it much more easy. If I really look at it, I don't think we went for any classes. We learned, MS-DOS to WordStar, WordPerfect, and then MS Office. I mean, I've seen that, and I believe that many of the staff here in my office, and most of them have been with me for 29 years. My three main people have been with me for 29 years, and many of my operator level staff have been with me for 26 years. And 17, 18 is very common. And they're still part of the system and they enjoy what they're doing. And it's very important that you provide them the opportunity to learn, more importantly. And that's largely dependent on people like us or the management group to ensure that there is opportunities to learn for them. And I think it's interesting. So
thank you so much, Uma. We are not surprised at all because you provide so much clarity every time we present something new. The clarity is so amazing.
thank you.
It's so nice learning from you. And Deepak, what's your take on this cultural shift and how do you manage? Because Uma was also talking about women on the ground and she gave an importance to the gender leading it. So what is your take, because you are also in a different industry.
Yeah, so quite contrary to what Ms. Uma has, I have a much younger team. So, so I think our progression has been such. We also have very low attrition. So, like you said, the way that we do, okay. So maybe I go a little bit. I don't know for time. I will be really brief. So what we typically try to do is to look at people with two things. One, a really good. We look at good people fundamentally. I mean, people with ability, not just their academic, academic qualifications. We look at the emotional quotients, how well they are able to work in a team. This is something that is very important. And talking about working in a team and technology and the various things that we get to see that is changing really very fast. The only thing that I think, the other word, like along with smart manufacturing that you also get to hear is also agile manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
And this agility is something that is very, very important. It's about not just having, to have technologies outside and looking at them and thinking, okay, these are nice technologies. But what is very important is to know what of those technologies or what of those things are important for you and to be able to adapt it, adopt it and customize it to fit into your ecosystem and to get the best results out of it. And here, what is very important, that's exactly why I said it is more important to develop what we typically call as the jack of all trades and master of none. Sometimes that kind of mindset is actually better, that it's better to have people who can adapt and move across domains, can be cross-trained and move cross-functional really very fast. That is more important than having domain. I'm not saying that domain experts are not needed, but when you talk about, you definitely need it in R&D. You probably need some kind of domain expertise in IT. You need definitely in certain areas, but the larger people, the people around who support these various domain experts in their areas, they must be agile and watchful to adapt the new technologies that are available. And as management and as entrepreneurs or as leaders, we must encourage that ecosystem where people believe that what I know today is only going to last till today or tomorrow. That I need to keep looking out, and each person need to know what is the best way to move forward, how best I can contribute, or what will be my, I think Mireille used the word ROI. What would be my ROI in the current state and in tomorrow's state? How can I add more return to the investment that the company is doing onto me? And this thought process is what needs to be encouraged. I mean, the person has to have the attitude, but apart from having the attitude, the organization and the entity do, with trainings, with creative opportunities, we must encourage the move towards agility. So I think that would be my concluding statement on this particular question, at least. And I think we are running out of time. So
yes.
Really,
so Mireille, can you briefly tell us what will be your take on that same point?
Yeah, I totally agree with Deepak. I think you want people to play on their strength, but at the same time, you want them to be flexible because everything changed now. With the technology, it's volatile, it's uncertain. So you want people who can actually adapt quickly, whatever their age, and really have them to work, to capitalize on their strength, but having the opportunity to also learn from their peers if they don't, if they don't know. And so that you have, a strong team, people who complement themselves and people who can, move around when there's a change in in the organization, or change in the market, and make sure, or change in the technology, make sure that they always have this mindset of being a learner. More than being an expert, because when you talk about being an expert, sometimes you just stay in your comfort zone, and you don't really want to learn from from others. And I think that needs to change with what's going on with the technology. Yeah.
Thank you, Viral. Thank you. And Rupa, what will be your concluding remarks? You're muted there, Rupa. You're on mute?
Yeah, my concluding remarks, like technology these days playing major role, like what Uma and Deepak, Miral and all were telling. So we should make use of this technology for our businesses. And now more and more we are expecting this technology into our industry. So we should bring in more of technology. That is what is my concluding statement. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think this was a very intense, yet a very, very nice learning experience for all of us out here. And we believe that you have enjoyed being part of this BEF Women Economic Forum too. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Over to Jay.
Thank you, Dr. Rajani. This has been a fascinating session. Lots of information, very good discussion. I don't think it is an understatement to say that technology has impacted all of us very deeply. And I agree with all of you, especially some of the analogies that Uma had brought forward, brought back memories to me. 5 or 6 years ago, when I was visiting a friend here in Bangalore who runs a very high-end printing company. He has 2 of those Heidelberg equipment for photo lithographic printing. And one of those machines was undergoing maintenance. I'm bringing this out as an example. This was about 6 years ago, long before the pandemic. And the way the maintenance happened kind of foretold what's going to be the impact of technology in the years to come in a huge way. He said that we have intimated Heidelberg in Germany, and they are the ones who can drive us through the maintenance. So the way the maintenance happens for those very high-end equipment, you tell the company, and the company then runs an automated program to find out where the problems are in this particular machine sitting here in Bangalore. And once they have identified the problem, then they visually run through a maintenance for the local staff here to undertake. So you go below the machine and you identify this thing. Okay. A fascinating example of how technology really comes into the picture. So thank you, Uma, for bringing back those very good memories. I think we are going to see more and more of those. My final responsibility is a very interesting one that I take great pleasure in undertaking. On behalf of the World Economic Forum, the Women Economic Forum, pardon me. I take great pleasure in conferring the Exceptional Leader of Excellence Award on Dr. Rajani Sriraman, the Exceptional Leader of Excellence Award to Uma Reddy, the Exceptional Leader of Excellence Award to Miral Taulekima. I hope I got that pronunciation right, Miral. The Exceptional Leader of Excellence Award to Deepak Paul, the Exceptional Leader of Excellence Award to Rupa Rani Ravindran. We are really sorry that Sinjini Sengupta was unable to join us today, but nevertheless, this has been an incredibly informative and very interesting conversation. We hope to see you again sometime soon. Take care, good luck, and be safe. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Lovely meeting you.
Yeah, it was lovely meeting you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Pleasure interacting with all of you.
Lovely meeting all of
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, great day to all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.